This is Never Down, Never Out with T.R. Matson. This podcast is about discipline when motivation fades, resilience when things get hard, and showing up when quitting would be easier. No hype, no shortcuts, just the mindset required to build something real. One day at a time. Let's get into it. All right. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning back in. Never Down, Never Out podcast. I appreciate all the support. I know I say this almost every episode. I'm completely blown away by the comments, the messages, the support from a podcast that honestly the idea was to record something for my children and their children to listen to when I'm not around. So I'm in awe, frankly, that it's resonating with other people, and it's funny that I bring that up because that kind of ties into today's. I need to wake up. Today's episode. So today we're going to talk about why action creates motivation. So I want you to ask yourself, and we're jumping right into it. So I want to get this message out there. So have you ever found yourself stagnant or in a rut where you wake up, you do the tasks that you have to do, you eat your meals, you go to work, you do your thing, maybe you work out, maybe you don't, you sit on the couch, you go to bed, you repeat. There were times where I would tell my wife, I'm like, I feel like all I do is I wake up, I go teach a simulator, I come home, I work out, and I go to bed. And I do it again. And it was just the same, people call it the rat race, people call it Groundhog Day. It was just the same thing over and over and over again. And if you find yourself in that situation, it gets very hard to break out of it. It truly is a rut. If I was talking to my wife about this topic, and my son asked me, he's like, what's a rut? And I was like, a rut is, think of this, you're out there and you're riding your dirt bike and you're in this path, but you want to turn somewhere else. You want to go do something else, but you can't get the tire to come out of it. You're stuck. You're just going, and you end up just doing the same loop over and over and over again. And it can be very, very, very frustrating because in your mind, right, you want to get out. You want to do something else. But then another day goes by. And it's the same thing. And you know the right things, right? I mean, if you've stuck with me this long, you are very close to being done with the topics that are the foundations for mental toughness. Like, what you need to do, but you just can't get the tire out of the rut. And so we've all been there. Where we scroll social media, or we sit on the couch, or we're not doing anything that's breaking us out. And I'm going to use a weight loss analogy only because I've told the story, and I was in that rut in college, my freshman year and the beginning of my second freshman year. And it took me doing something, whether it was joining the ROTC unit, whether it was meeting up that first morning way too early with that chief petty officer at the gym, whatever it was, it took some action to get my tire to start coming out of that rut. It wasn't fully out, but it was starting. It was gaining just a little bit of traction as it churned up the hill. And then I did it again. And then I did it again. And I did it for a week. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I remember after the first week of meeting him every day, and he would even come in on the weekends when the ROTC unit was closed. But after a week, I'm sore. I was sore. Imagine, 300 pounds and you go for a jog. I mean, your whole body hurts. Running should not be that big of a full body punishment, and it was. But after a week, I remember, because we started on a Monday, and I did 1 week through Sunday, and then it was the next Monday, and my alarm went off, and I rolled out of bed, and I put on my gear, and I was halfway walking to the gym before I realized I had even given it a thought. And I was like, that's different. And I met him, and we started our workout, a little warm up on the treadmill, and we started lifting weights, and I had to go use the restroom, and I went to the restroom, filled up my water bottle, and I walked back, and I caught a glimpse out of myself in the mirror. And I was at a point in my life where I tried not to look in mirrors because there was nothing that I was going to see in a mirror that I wanted to see, which is a horrible place for a 19-year-old to be in. And I caught myself, and I did a double take. Because even in 1 week, I looked physically different. Had I lost a ton of weight? No, but I'd lost some. But how I was holding myself had changed. My confidence was starting to build. And again, these things don't happen overnight. We talked about that, right? Episode 12, we talked about the myth of overnight success. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in anything you do. So, but it was just a little bit. The action of me going to the gym every day for a week was just starting to build motivation. Now, we can't sustain our goals on motivation. Cannot. We've talked about that, right? We need the discipline. But now the motivation was starting to build the discipline. I wanted to go back and lift more weights. I looked forward to Tuesday morning. So if you watch this chain of events that happens, motivation was starting to build the discipline. Discipline was starting to get me to my goal. But it all began with action. If I had just sat on the couch that first day, never left my room, blew off the chief and said, whatever, I'll do it on my own. And he told me, he goes, hey, this is when I'm going to be there. You want to be there? I'll work out with you. If you're not there, I'm going to work out. No sweat off my back. This is on you. So if I didn't show up, if I didn't take that action step, my tire would still be in that rut. I'd still be doing the same loop. I'd still be eating poorly. I'd still be getting poor sleep. Wouldn't be burning calories. Wouldn't be losing weight. I would be manifesting what that lieutenant was laughing at, right? I was proving him right that I was never going to make it. But instead, I took one action, and I went to the gym one day. I committed to one workout. And that is one of the things I think that people miss is they think, and I use the weight loss analogy because it's something that a lot of people can resonate with. But this applies to anything out there that you're trying to achieve. People set up a goal, and if that goal is truly something substantial, they want to save money. They want to buy a house, right? Interest rates are higher. I need to save more money to put down for a house. Whatever your goal is. In their mind, they think big. These are all the things I have to do. It's overwhelming. I just spent all day thinking about all the things I have to do to accomplish the thing I want to accomplish. I've wasted a whole day. It's rough. When in reality, all it takes is one action. That's it. Just do one small step. That's it. And we take one small step, and then tomorrow we take one more. And then the next day, one more. And we start stepping and building and gaining this momentum, which then makes us feel good about the goal. Because we're like, whoa, hold on a second. I want to be in great shape, or I want to have money for a down payment, or I want to buy a car, or I want to pass this class. Well, now I start actually seeing I found ways to lower my budget. I found ways to save more money. I found a way to make it to the gym today. And then I found that way again. And then again. And that's very motivating. And that is the phase most people get stuck in. Most people, when they are trying to achieve a goal, they get stuck right between the initial idea and gaining enough momentum to start actually going towards that goal. It's that initial spot where they get stuck. And people will live their whole lives in that spot. They will never break out of that spot because they're trying to figure out how to get the discipline and how to set up the long-term goal and how to do all of these things when all it takes is one step today, one action. And then stack those actions, like I've said, stack the wins time and time again in short succession. And then guess what? That's motivating. Well, motivation lights the fire. Well, now I don't have to think about waking up tomorrow. I want to go to the gym. I don't have to think about whether I should buy that thing I don't really need because I don't need it. And I know I don't need it because look at how much money I saved this week and I'm going to save a couple bucks more. Cool. That gains the momentum. And then now we transition from the momentum phase, the motivation phase, to the discipline phase. And that is when you finally go. You finally take off and you start progressing towards your goal. So what I want you to look at where are you at? Be honest with yourself. Are you in that phase from idea to motivation? You're stuck. You've just bounced back and forth. This is what I want to do. All right, it's going to be good. Okay, let's go do it. Oh, man, it's a lot of stuff. Well, hold on. You know what? I did some good brainstorming on it today. I'm going to start tomorrow. Yeah, I'll start tomorrow. Okay, this is what I want to do. I thought about it yesterday. I'm ready to start. Life, boom, hits me here. Okay, you know what? It's not a good day to start, but I want to. So tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and you just bounce back and forth, and you never actually get any traction. Right? If I use the dirt bike analogy, I was trying to explain to my son, you turn the handlebars and you lean and you start to go up the hill, but you slide right back down. And you start and you slide right back down. You start and you slide right back down because you're not actually taking an active step. There's no real action. You haven't committed, even in the short term, to anything. You've just kind of leaned into it a little, right? If you find yourself in that phase, I want you right now to stop overthinking. Stop trying to envision the path from today all the way to success. And I want you to just do one action. Whatever that action is that fits the goal you're trying to do. If you're trying to mend a relationship, shoot a text. If you're trying to save money, figure out one thing that you buy that you don't need to buy. If you're trying to lose weight, go for a walk. Do something small and minute, but do that action. And then when you're done with it, take a moment, pat yourself on the back, be happy, and then do another action. And watch how these actions build upon themselves. They're small. I don't want you to take over the world. I want you to do something tiny. But I want you to do them one after another, after giving yourself a very small amount of time. Because remember, we don't have the motivation yet. We haven't gotten there. So it's very easy to get derailed. So one action with a small amount of pat on the back, and then right back to another action. And do this over time and see if we can get to the motivation phase. See if we can put enough actions in that when you are walking in the gym in my story and you notice yourself in the mirror, you go, oh, dang, all right, hold on. I don't hate it as much as I hated it a week ago. Let me give it another week. That's where we commit. That's where we're not just leaning to get out of the rut in the dirt bike trail. We're actually turning the handlebars and we're starting to look where we want. But we have to be honest with ourselves. Some days it takes a lot of thought, a lot of long-term planning, a lot of things. But today it just takes one step, one action. And that's all I want. Please, just one action today. You can tell me what it is in the comments when you're done with it. I'd appreciate it. I'd love to hear it. But just take that one action and then tomorrow build on it. And see if we can get ourselves moving towards the motivation stage. Because if we can, we have a shot. If we can light the fire, we have a chance. But you can't light the fire if you don't find the matches. And that's what we're trying to do right now. So go find your match. I believe in you. And I know deep down you believe in you too. Or else you still wouldn't be listening to me. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hanging in there with me through all of the learning curve on this. We will talk soon. If this episode helped you, don't just listen, apply it. Progress is built in what you do after the message ends. Remember, never down, never out. I'll see you tomorrow.